This is Heidi, and you are watching a new episode of DFW Spotlight on Business. Welcome to the show. We're really excited to be here today.
Absolutely.
I call it Whirlwind Wednesday.
Feels like it, doesn't it?
It does. It does. Hey, pull the mic a little bit closer because I'm going to introduce. Yeah, that's much better. I'm going to introduce my guest, Bill Hamm. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
And I want to say I do appreciate your heart for the entrepreneurs in our city and just putting on the show to get the word out there.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
Yeah.
It is fun. We have a lot of fun on the show, and I know you and I have spoken about why we do the show, why I do the show, but a lot of it is because I'm very passionate about small and medium-sized business, and I get to sit down with a lot of business owners and they have questions. And so if they can click into a show like this, or they can, watch a podcast while they're, doing something
Right.
else, it's a great way to sort of absorb content and get to know what's going on in DFW in the business community.
Absolutely.
So we have a saying, and I'm going to ask you to say it for me. This is going to be something that we do every week.
Sure.
So the saying is, we do business in DFW, and business is good.
Business is good in DFW. I like that.
Business is good.
Catchy.
Yes, we do. We do business in DFW. And this show is really pretty exciting because Bill and I are here to talk about a company called Insperity. And so let me introduce myself for a moment. I am Heidi, and I've been in the radio, broadcasting, podcasting. I've been doing this for about 3 or 4 years and just love it. It's a great way, in my opinion, to get the word out to as many people as possible, and to have this kind of conversation where people can come in and tell their story or share what they know, that their expertise, and really connect with other people in the DFW area. Now, this is a broadcast on a streaming broadcast, which is a very popular medium now. Anybody in the world could watch it. But we are focused at the Dallas-Fort Worth, metropolitan area, and that includes Denton, and that includes, Waxahachie and Waco. And so we just really want to include as many people as possible, but we definitely are focused here in DFW.
Right.
So that said, I've been doing this for a while, and I've not only been doing this, but my position with Insperity today is I am a business performance advisor, and I've been a business advisor for almost 18 years, and 18 years plus, and it has been an evolution for me in my career, but also to watch something. I've met business owners maybe 5 years ago who was on a shoestring budget. They didn't have a clue how they were going to go from 0 to 60. But now, 5 years later, they're flourishing and they're doing great. And
That's fantastic.
yeah, and it's a journey of what we called in the first episode with Amy Power is blood, sweat, and tears. And that journey can be lonely, and it can be it can also be, a lot of hills and valleys. And I think with my position at Insperity, what I enjoy doing is just being there and listening. So we'll talk more about Insperity. This whole show, we'll talk about it. And the other part / the Insperity story is, what is a PEO? What can a PEO do for companies and businesses in the DFW area? I remember when I first heard of the acronym PEO. It went right
Lights.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
And so it was really hard for me to describe as a layperson who isn't working in a PEO, wasn't working in a PEO at the time. So I want to sort of unwrap the mystery behind that, and what does that mean, and really break it down to the very, I guess, simplest terms of what do we do every day and why do we do it. So let me start with just introducing you a little bit more in depth here. Let me see, get my notes. So Bill is, you are a native of Shreveport, Louisiana, and you're married. Your wife, Christina, and you have 2 beautiful children, and you raised them in Coppell, Texas.
That's correct.
Okay. At an early age, Bill became familiar with small business by working with his family business in the construction industry. He learned the importance of hiring and retaining key employees, and that they are the most important asset to any business. And that is true.
That is true.
Before joining Insperity in 2012, Bill sold and marketed business intelligence solutions to key brands such as Ford, General Motors, Best Buy, Hewlett-Packard. Bill's passion is helping those who are looking for the next career by connecting them with like-minded people who value their skill and work ethic. I think that was a great bio.
Oh, well, I tell you, it means a lot to me to help other people, and if it means, connecting the dots for them, where they're finding different clients or their next job, that's really what I get up and work hard in the morning to help them with that. So,
yeah. Well, when we met, Bill and I, we were colleagues, and I reached out to you a couple of times and had referred business to you because we had met. He impressed me so much with that, just that, I guess, the mentality and the way you portray yourself, and it was easy for me when I thought of somebody that would need Insperity. It was easy for me to think of you.
Well, thank you for that.
So that I think that's what that says a lot about the people that are with Insperity and who help lead as you do. Your title is District Manager.
Correct.
And but let's not sweep under the rug that you were a business performance advisor also.
Right.
So you've gone through some of the things that we go through every single day, and you can attest to the rewarding parts, and the challenges.
Plenty of those, yes.
So it's been a fun journey for me to work with you, and then watch everything that goes on internally at Insperity, and so we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. One thing that I like to do is we have a segment, and it's DFW Business in the Know, and I looked at the Forbes magazine, and they had an article, the top 4 challenges small business owners face today. I thought it was really interesting because I think, again, we're sitting down with business owners on a regular basis. It's kind of, I don't know if you've experienced this when you were talking to business owners, but it can be a little challenging to pull from them what they think their challenges are.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because as you said earlier, it's a lonely place for a business owner to be, there aren't a lot of people that they can go out and seek advice from that they work with, because they want to make sure they're sensitive to their needs and that sort of thing. So being able to get out and meet these folks and really get to the root of their business, really, I mean, you're more than an advisor. Like you said, it's an emotional conversation. This is their baby, so that's why I enjoy what we do.
It is. It can be very emotional, actually, and but according to this article, the top 4 small business owners, that they listed a challenge. There was a survey done with 553 small business owners across the country, and these are the ones that they listed. Which just quickly, number 1 is rising interest rates. That was the number 1, and this relates to cash management and planning, access to funding when needed.
Right.
I can attest to the conversations that I'm having today, that is a concern for business owners, and whether or not when they need the money, will it be available to them?
Sure.
And I've actually worked with some businesses that have said, we're running at that cap. I'm really concerned that as we grow, we're going to have the access to cash and
to the cash, right?
Something that we can touch on later, but I know Insperity does consider that, and it's part
Absolutely.
of the
Cash
business
flow
solution.
management's huge. It's not just about how much money goes in and goes out, but at the timing of that as well.
Sure.
And everything in our economic environment, the consumer confidence in their spending, that sort of that all affects the interest rates, which affect how business owners make their decisions moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I was a business owner in 2008 and 2010, and that was a crazy time to be a business owner, and so I can relate for sure. The second one I think is really relevant to what we're going to talk about today, and this is the healthcare costs and changes to healthcare regulations. Obviously, a rate increase will put the squeeze on a small business monthly budget and cause instability. I hear about that every day.
Instability and a lot of fear too. Business owners, companies are particularly the smaller ones, are concerned about whether they're going to be able to afford it moving forward.
Right.
And from what we're seeing at Insperity is it's a big challenge. People are trying to get their hands around. They're out looking. That's another reason business owners like to meet with us, because they want to hear what other companies are doing.
True.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true, and we're going to dig into that a little bit deeper, because Insperity's solution, the one that we focus on with our business owners and our clients, is perfect for this, and there's some couple of reasons why, so we want to make sure we touch that, so stay tuned for that. It's good information. There's also the new presidential administration. I thought that was really interesting, that was a top challenge, because this was 2017, at the beginning of 2017 that this was the survey was done. I can definitely see any new administration would be sort of a well, what's going to happen and
what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
We've heard it since Obamacare, and it's going to continue, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And then local and regional economic health. And the way they described this in the article was that what you mentioned a moment ago is how everything sort of ties in together. So locally, is their city supporting small business locally? Are taxes, all those things that come from a regional, local standpoint, how is that affecting their business? And sometimes it's as I guess minute as road work in front of their business, and is that going to affect how people can get to their business?
Good point.
Yeah. So that those are the four things that business owners in 2017 are concerned about, and we're going to address a few of them.
Sure.
Talk about a few of them, how Insperity can help with some of those. But we definitely want the business owners and the people that are watching to know that it's important to us. We are walking side by side in that journey. And sometimes, even if the people that I talk to don't become Insperity clients, I'm staying in touch with them because there's always a season and a time.
Sure.
And watching them go through some of those challenges or continue to grow and do the things that they have to do to stay stable. I think stability is a big deal. So that's DFW Business in the Know, and this show is produced and brought to you by Real Life Media. So we appreciate that we were able to have that, and we have a few more minutes. Bill, I'm going to just sort of open this up and give us more information about you and your career. That there was mention of a couple of really cool things that you've done.
I've jumped around a little bit. For the most part, I've been stable with companies, and I was raised in a family business. I think you mentioned that in my bio. At one time, they had 600 employees, and it's interesting. It's my grandfather inherited the business, and then it went to my father and my uncle, and ever since I started, working for Insperity, and my father learning more about our industry, hearing more about it, he's told me on many occasions he wished he had a solution like Insperity to help him, manage his day-to-day employee relations. So yeah, I witnessed it. I worked for him.
Sure.
I did different job functions, and I ended up going to Louisiana State University down in Baton Rouge, where I got a marketing degree. I love marketing. I love this show.
Well,
I got excited when I walked in here. I once I graduated there, I came to Dallas looking for, the next best thing there. And it wasn't a family at the time, it was all about career. And I went to go work for a company that sold big data to ad agencies, advertisers, small ones, large ones. We had quite a territory. And at one time I handled the not just the Midwest, but the Southeast.
Wow.
And so it was a large territory, and I got to meet a lot of good people, some of which are clients of Insperity, which I don't know if you know this, Heidi, but that's actually how I found Insperity.
No,
through
I didn't.
it was a former client, I should say, came into town one day and said, "Hey, let's have lunch." Started telling me about Insperity. I hadn't heard of them. I did not know what a PEO was. Headlights,
Right.
in the headlights,
Yep.
kind of thing. And he's an example. I'll never forget this. It was a little sad example, but it really tells about how much our company cares for our clients. They had a young lady that unexpectedly passed away, and the very next day, Insperity had grief counselors in there. Really concerned about helping that client out and making sure people had a chance to mourn and things got back to normal. And they're a very successful company, still an Insperity client.
That's awesome.
So that's really how I came here. But I missed small business when I was particularly marketing to Ford, and I didn't feel like it had the same passion to
Right.
it. That's how I felt. So really, when I exited there and I came on to Insperity, I really found what I feel is my calling.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go start my own business right now. It's not that it's not that it doesn't appeal to me. It's just that I'm enjoying, going out and helping others meet their goals.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about me.
No, that's a lot that I didn't know, and I appreciate that. And I think that's some commonalities that we find at the other professionals at Insperity is that we just have these experiences that are, really driving that passion behind being a great company. So we're going to take a break and watch a video, and this video is going to be about the Insperity story. I watched it. I absolutely loved it. We're not going to watch the whole video. It's a little bit long, but hopefully when we get back, you and I can talk about the Insperity story.
Sure.
And so you're watching DFW Spotlight on Business. This is Heidi Hardy, and we'll be right back.
We understand what it means to take everything you saved, borrow as much as you can get your hands on, dump that into an idea, and for that you get a 16-hour day job and don't eat for 2 years. It's going into business for yourself, being your own boss. This enterprise was certainly a calling from the very beginning to really make a difference in the success equation for small and mid-sized companies, both in the likelihood of success and the degree of success. Coming from owning my own businesses and facing the challenges and the real war that businesses have to try to succeed, that was really the central driver. We had tremendous obstacles and challenges from the legal and regulatory community, in addition to the typical challenges you have from a financial perspective.
We were birthing not only a company, but we were birthing an industry. So our challenges were much greater. Our challenges weren't, am I going to get this client? Our challenge was, is the company going to survive in this environment?
We were slugging it out in the ditches, and sometimes we didn't know exactly what we were doing, but we knew we had a higher calling because of the fact that the impact we had on small businesses and their employees.
As far as our clients are concerned, that's why we understand the pain and agony that they go through each and every day, is because we've been there.
We have so much respect and empathy for people who take that challenge on, and our vision that has come to real life is that we improve the odds of success for those people.
Us going public made a rubber stamp on the industry as this is credible, and what we do for customers is a valued service.
The success we had gave us a blueprint to be able to go to the market and say, you know, we like to go public, take what we have, take the money that we get from going public and really leverage the business to the extent that we become a nationwide company.
We decided after some introspection that the business just hadn't grown as fast as we'd like it. Even though it's been wildly successful, we could do better, we could do more, we could help more businesses succeed.
Welcome back.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that was an awesome
Yeah.
video, and of course we didn't watch it all. And I invite people to go to YouTube and just look up Insperity story, and that'll come up if you want to watch the whole video. You're listening to DFW Spotlight on Business with Heidi Hardy and Bill Hamm. Thank you for being here. Bill is a district manager at Insperity, and we wanted to, the reason for this show is to enhance and help bring information to the professional community in DFW. And I really love that story. We'll talk a little bit about what we watched, but I wanted to circle back to where Insperity is located today and what has transpired really over the last 30 to 60 days. They for those of you who don't know, Insperity is based in Kingwood, Texas, which is Houston.
Yes.
And they have experienced a tremendous impact, not just on the company, but their employees there in Houston. And so I'm going to give you a few minutes to sort of talk to us about how Insperity's handled that. We watched a video the other day as a company, and I was just, fighting back tears and swelling with pride at how Insperity has helped manage, what was a tragedy, but now is a recovery effort for the whole community in Houston.
Absolutely. Well, helping out with Harvey has been much more than just donating money, and I know that our executives have done that, and the company has as well. But we wanted to make sure that our clients in the Houston area were taken care of. They had employees that needed to be paid.
Sure.
Earth doesn't stand still when a hurricane comes through.
Right.
It's a tragedy, and a lot of people are caught off guard and are in dire straits. We recognize that. Even some of our own employees. And by the way, we have in Insperity, we have what we call the Insperity Fund that the employees contribute to, and that fund is used to help people out in circumstances like this. So not just with our own employees, but with our customers' employees as well. We doubled up service in some of the outlying offices, just right down the street here in Irving. Is one of our major service hubs. We had people working overtime to make sure that the Houston community, the Houston businesses, our clients got paid.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of outreach as well from the employees, not just in the Houston market, but here in Dallas-Fort Worth. We were loading up trucks and bringing water down there and really trying to do our part, and it's just... It's a tragedy, but it's a sweet story that we came together, and it just shows what kind of culture we have and the caring that our executives have as well.
Yeah.
So
it really is. I'm hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of businesses were affected, and some will make it, and some won't. And one of the things that I took away from the presentation that we had internally was that there was a lot of preparation for something like that, and that they had made some investment in some infrastructure that would help to make sure that people got paid and make sure that these things happen. And then there was all the just the big-hearted people that, like you said, put in extra time, extra funding, did the things that needed to be done, because they weren't just obviously those people in Houston were suffering as well, but they were just as concerned for their fellow neighbor or client or prospective client even, to to get through it together. So I just wanted to bring that up because I know that's been something for us in North Texas. We've been affected because we're embracing anyone who needs help here, and we're trying to do our part, as you said. But to be working for a company that so quickly jumped to the occasion and then also proactively set up some systems and processes, I think it says a lot about the example that they set for businesses of all kinds.
Absolutely.
So I'm really proud to be a part of the Insperity family. I really am.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
sorry.
I was going to go back to the video and just visit a little bit about what it is that, you look at Microsoft and it was two guys in a garage, and it sounds so, I don't know, sometimes it sounds
cliche.
Yeah, it does. It does. But I mean, that truly is how Insperity started. There was conversation, and that was Paul Zavardi. He is the CEO and
Yes.
co-founder of Insperity. And he just speaks with so much conviction and passion. It's really interesting to listen to him, but then to watch some of that. So what that video said is that the company started in 1986, correct?
That's correct. We were talking about this earlier before the show. We have a lot of people that have been with the company a long time, even in our own office, right around the corner
Sure.
from me for 19 years, for 25 years. And, you hear about those humble beginnings, because every small business has a humble beginning, in my opinion. They talk about, coming on board, and really, I mean, we're very fortunate that we're given what we are today, because there were people that, didn't have a lot of money, and they were out working their tails off getting clients signed up and, trying to do the next right thing. And so it's really impressive to see folks to be with being with the company for so long. One thing that really impresses me, they all impress me, but Paul Zavardi is he's just a fantastic person. He is a true servant leader. I don't think I really ever knew what a servant leader was until I met Paul. I mean, he's not he will sit down and talk to any of his employees. I've met him several times. I've had dinner with him. Just a great guy. But he really does care. And he was a business owner before Insperity,
Sure.
And he empathizes with our clients, with startups, the ones we haven't even spoken with yet, and there are not very many CEOs that will take a company from inception, 1986 to 1997, be on the stock exchange. Every time I see that, it still get the chills, and realize that, hey, we're just getting started.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot we can be doing. He had no interest on, taking his money and run, if you want to put it that
Sure.
way. It's because he feels like that was his calling, and I just think that's fantastic.
No, when you were talking, I caught something there, and I want to make sure that we're able to sort of go into that. If you look at the 1986 and some of those beginnings of what it was that they were doing with admin staff, what I love about Insperity is they have evolved considerably. They are one of the, if not the leader in the PEO space, or the creators of what this means.
Right. As he said in the video, we birthed an industry.
Absolutely.
Exactly what happened.
Exactly.
Yes.
And not just that, though. I think when I think about companies that do that, they sometimes rest on their laurels for a long time. But the way, if you look at some of the changes that Insperity's gone through, just recently they became a certified
PEO,
right,
Professional Employment Organization.
Exactly. And that was a big deal because they had to jump through a lot of regulation hoops and just go through quite a bit to get that certification. But that differentiates just a normal PEO, and again we'll talk about what a PEO is, but just differentiates the company. So
Right.
Some companies, and I've been a part of some companies that have created something and just sort of rested on that. What I've noticed about Insperity is, like you said, he's just beginning. After 30 years, they're still on this momentum,
Right.
and the interest is they want to be the best for the client, the best for the community. The mission of Insperity is helping businesses succeed so communities prosper. I think that's the first mission statement that I've ever just memorized. I mean, just resonated with me. It's like, wow, that makes sense. We want businesses to succeed so this whole community prospers.
Absolutely.
So, talk to us a little bit more about the Insperity story. And we know it originated in 1986. Where we are today, we are now called Insperity. It was at Ministaff.
It was at Ministaff at the time. About 8 years ago, it was rebranded to the Insperity name.
Okay.
A lot of people ask, why'd you do that? I mean, Ministaff had a lot of brand equity. Yes, it did. But again, going back to Paul, our work is not done. We brought on a lot of solutions, several other companies that are part of our suite of products today that they were branded on their own accord, this and that and the other, and we found a way to bring them into the fold. So we found it a need to rebrand our company. And a lot of people joke, Ministaff sounds kind of like a staffing firm. So
right.
There's a lot of marketing behind that.
Sure.
And they just did a fantastic job of rebranding to the Insperity brand.
Well, I read that Insperity is actually not a word.
No, it's not.
But that it's inspired and prosperity, and they put them together.
That's right. We inspire prosperity. It's part of our mission as well.
Yeah, I love it. What a great branding idea, and and truly is. Again, just going back to what a company like us or like what we do can do for other businesses and for small businesses. Well, let's talk a little bit about. I guess I want to give people an idea of how big Insperity is. So recently, as far as the size of the company.
Right. So, like I said, we have 4 major service hubs, first of all. And that houses our corporate employees. We have several functions in our service department. As a corporate company, we have about 2,000 employees, which is really impressive. We do still see a large need in the community to reach out and to get to know more businesses. So we're currently hiring more BPAs in the market, more advisors, we're still growing. I don't see it slowing down anytime soon either. So.
What was impressive to me, because I'm fairly new at Insperity, is when I came on board, I reached out to everyone that I knew in my professional network and locally, and they all were just so thrilled that that's what a great company. So the reputation precedes itself. I mean,
sure.
So there was a feeling that you're getting involved with something really amazing.
Absolutely, and I had the same thing 5 years ago. I remember my brother-in-law coming to me. Oh my gosh, what a great company. How'd you get on board with them? He's a business owner himself, and he knew several of the advisors. He's gone to many of our events, much like the one you held this morning.
Yes.
It's definitely known as a very strong company in the business communities, but there's still work to be done to get our purpose out there, to explain to people the value that we can bring to their day-to-day business.
Well, that's a great segue, because we're going to take another quick break, and we're going to do a Insperity Biz moment, which we love. They're fun. They're short and fun and to watch.
They're good.
Yeah, they are. They're a lot of fun. But when we get back, don't leave, because we really are going to start talking about what a PEO is. We know it's Professional Employment Organization.
Correct.
And what a PEO can do for businesses. So one of the things that I know with my network and community that I get to work with and talk to on a regular basis is if you're not a business owner, a business owner. Right? If that's not the case, then you work for a business owner. What is it, like 79% of people work for small businesses in the United States at this point. So what we're going to share in the second half of the show is why and why we are as successful as we are as a company, but also what does it do for small business owners, and how can, if you're watching and interested, how can you help us evangelize and pass the word along to these businesses that are out there that might be struggling with some of the things that we're going to talk about. So you're listening to DFW Spotlight on Business. This is Heidi Hardy with Bill Hamm, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to today's Biz Moment, brought to you by Insperity, Inspiring Business Performance. Today's topic is HR mistakes you might be making. Being proactive in the area of HR can save you countless headaches, so watch out for these mistakes. And number one is an outdated employee handbook. The employee handbook should be updated about every 2 years, and employees should sign an acknowledgement form stating that they received the publication and will abide by its policies, even if it's just a few pages outlining acceptable and expected behaviors for employees. It is important to have those guidelines documented. HR mistake number 2, undocumented performance-based terminations are not good. It's a mistake. Written policies are the boundaries that govern employee conduct, and they're very important. When a violation occurs, it must be accurately and thoroughly documented in writing. Although it may seem time-consuming to jot down in a file that someone was reprimanded for repeated tardiness, this misconduct can support a decision to terminate that individual who has unsatisfactory job performance. HR mistake number 3, incomplete employee files. For compliance reasons, it's vital to keep a record of all the personnel documents attached to your employee's work history. Just one example is a separate binder for I-9s, which verify employee identity and work eligibility in the United States. HR mistake number 4, hasty hires and promotions. Before you consider hiring someone, think about why you're hiring. A few hours spent crafting a solid job description can prevent hours of future hassle. A candidate may offer impressive skills, but that skill set must also address your needs. Even when employees have excellent management potential, they may need additional training and support at first when promoted into a supervisory role, so keep those all into account. HR mistake number 5, a disregard for training. Taking time to train your employees is a valuable investment in the future of your business. By including training in the onboarding process, your employees may become more fully engaged and understand how to use their skills to best benefit your company, and that is an investment worth making. Stay tuned for more Insperity Biz Moments, business tips for savvy leaders. For more like these, visit the Insperity blog at insperity.com.
Welcome back. This is Heidi Hardy, and you're listening to DFW Spotlight on Business, the show that talks all about business, and we're doing business, and business is good. I'm here with Bill Hamm. Yeah, good.
Good.
Bill Hamm is District Manager for Insperity here in the DFW metropolitan area. Thank you for being here. We've had, I have really enjoyed the first part of the show because I've learned some things about Insperity. Thank you. But I think it was important to introduce Insperity and then maybe dig in deep to what we do.
Right.
You know, what is a PEO? Obviously, if they're just tuning in, a PEO is a professional employment organization.
Right.
And wow, I'm sort of going to just pass it on to you.
Sure,
because
that's fine.
Let's talk about what is a PEO and what do they do for business?
Well, our model's changed over the years. By the way, let me go back in the industry a little bit.
Okay.
PEO, you heard him say, birthed the industry about 30 years ago. Today, there are over 700 PEOs in the country, probably more than that now. That probably goes back 5 years. A lot of which are, more focused towards blue collar, for that model. Ours is focused for light blue collar, white collar. Really, we like to have this conversation with everyone we can.
Right. Right.
So that being said, what we do for our clients in the conversations we have with the business owners in the DFW area are, we help consolidate so many things that business owners don't think about when they go into business, when they have their baby and their passion, and they, I've got to have employees. They did not go into business to manage day-to-day, people, as far as, what kind of benefits are they going to have? Compensation studies, we help with all that as well. So what we do is we consolidate a lot of functions. A lot of people consider us an HR company. We consolidate a lot of those HR functions in order to have more cost efficiency, better communication. We have technology solutions in place that allow the employees and the employer to to better track the benefits that are given to the employee at the end of the day. Okay, but what a lot of the conversations don't get to when we're out there, because it's a long conversation, is we manage risk.
Right.
Okay,
I would agree with that. Yep.
And we have to, otherwise we wouldn't be in business today, because having benefits, there's a lot of compliance with that. There's a lot of risk. We really have to take a good look of who are we considering bringing into our pool.
Sure.
Because what we're doing is we are bringing together a large group of employers and their employees into a pool that allows them to get those Fortune 100 benefits that the company could not afford if they just went out on their own and had that kind of exposure. You hear a lot about ACA compliance these days.
A big, number 2 on the list, actually.
Number 2 on the list.
Sure.
We talk to a lot of companies out there that are not ACA compliant, nor do they know about it.
Sure.
That's not to be said that that's all sold to them or not, but we will come in and make sure they were buttoned up from a compliance standpoint. Also, their taxes are being paid. They will never get a letter from the IRS if they are a client. That's huge.
It is, believe me.
Right. And there are also employee risk things that you have to consider when you hire people. And we help with the job description part to help, those efficiencies, background checks, bringing people on board. And we have an HR support team that works with our clients. They know their name, that can help them with any employer issue or tort or anything like that.
Sure. We
don't want that to happen for them, but it does. I mean, we're all people. We don't all communicate. We don't all get along.
That's true.
Some days. But we help with the communication. From a communication standpoint, a lot of these smaller companies, they can't go hire an HR department. It's not priority for them.
That would be overkill in a lot of ways, too.
It would be overkill, big time, and expensive at that. So what we try to do is take all of our clients, that pool, as far as 401ks go, payroll taxes, benefits, and try to find a customized plan, benefit structure that fits their employees. And it's all over the board too. I mean, I've had companies, let me back up. I've had people come to me and say, we want to be part of Insperity. We have a company, here it is, coming to find out that it's kind of a shell, so we can't bring them on.
Okay.
It has we have to know what their functions are, for workers' comp reasons, that sort of thing. So we do a lot for small businesses. We work with startups. We have some clients that have 2 employees. Really, where our sweet spot is 5 to 150 employees.
Yeah.
We focus on the small businesses. Yes, we have a mid-market team as well, because we have different types of models that can help them as well.
Well, I know the mid-market came, obviously there's, medium-sized businesses that do need and want to outsource some of these responsibilities, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But oftentimes a company will start off with a 10-person staff, or just grow to that, and then they acquire other companies.
Yes,
that happens quite a bit. And so some of the mid markets, or some of the clients that we have that have grown just by those reasons, and we've
That's
been
a good
behind
point,
them
Heidi.
the whole time. So I think I just spoke to somebody not too long ago, and they said, yeah, we're going to buy a company, and all the there's legal, there's financial, there's all these things, and then right when you're about to pull the trigger, then you start thinking about, oh my gosh, I'm going to inherit 50 more employees. And,
right. There are more regulations.
Yeah.
With that, you're bringing together different personalities. You want to make sure everyone's in the right seat on the bus.
Yeah.
And that's Insperity helps tremendously with that.
They really do. They really do. And so the thing that comes to my mind when I think about the PEO, the name of the that phrase, the Professional Employment Organization, is co-employment. And I think that's an important thing to sort of describe. You said the word risk a couple of times, and we're going to do a show about how to avoid and manage risk for business owners. One of the things that I think Insperity does day in and day out is they take a risk. When they take on a new customer, they are risking that customer is and does what they say they're going to do, the small business owner.
Right.
What that means is, so if you have a small business owner who maybe isn't practicing the best HR processes and practices out there, and we take them on, Insperity takes them on, our job is to coach and help and advise and really help them get into that best practices, so their risk is lowered, our risk is lowered, because now we're co-employing, and
exactly,
we're taking on so much of the risk that these business owners are probably not even aware they're in.
No, and some of them are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big relief when we frame it up well, and the business owners have to understand this is not a control thing. They are giving direction to their employees. We are just giving them advice on how to handle certain situations, making sure they're compliant. That's really all we're doing. Now, I say that's all we're doing. We're doing many things, but we don't want control. We want them to take their vision, their baby, and just grow like gangbusters, But we want them to do it right.
Right.
And that's
reduce their risk.
At the end of the day, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's funny. We had a client, I should say prospect, we were talking to several years ago that, we help our clients with their employee handbooks. And many new businesses many small businesses don't even have an employee handbook.
Sure.
Or it's just something that they haven't looked at in a while and it needs to be updated, But we had a business owner that wanted us to put in the employee handbook that it was okay to pack a gun to work. I know we're in Texas, and Texans love their guns, but it's by law we couldn't put that in there. There's a lot of risk that comes with that.
There's a lot of risk.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So we have to. First of all, we have to develop a trusting relationship with the business owner, let them know we have their best interests in mind, and go from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, to answer the question, what can a PEO do for businesses? They essentially come in and, I guess the analogy would be you're the carpenter and we're the hammer. We're the tool that you use to manage. I guess the analogy that business, that side of the business. And so when we were at a luncheon today, and Insperity gives wonderful lunch and learns to the business community. And our speaker today had a slide up, and she showed what a CEO does and what a business owner does. That really resonated with me.
It did with me as well.
Yeah, because if you looked at the CEO is a visionary. He's he or she is a person that's out there really making plans for what the company's going to look 1 year, 2 year, 3 years down the road,
right,
and beyond. And a business owner is looking at the day-to-day issues, problems, challenges, and they're
Right.
just they're so deep into the regulations, the things that are coming down the pipe, and to simplify, what we do is we help business owners become their own better CEOs.
Get out of their way.
Absolutely.
Big time. That really resonated with me as well. But, as a business owner, do you want to run payroll reports? Do you really want to answer all the questions that your employees have about their deductible with their medical, this, that takes up a lot of time.
It does.
Really the mindset of makes it a very good client for us is they feel comfortable outsourcing and getting those administrative burdens off their plate. And we do a very good job of helping with that. Mm-hmm.
Well, I had a guest last week. Her name is Lynn O'Neill, and she's an incredible thought leader in the DFW area, and she's a coach and a trainer. But she said, some of the things that our conversations wrap around is when you're a business owner, you really have to know when it's time to what you're good at and what you can pay somebody else to do.
Right.
So the way I look at it, and I've been a business owner, I really get this. As a business owner, you'll start off with an Excel spreadsheet for your accounting, right? You're just like, okay, this came in, or something that you've created on your own, handwritten. Over time, as your business grows, there's got to be a time when you need help. And you call that CPA. When you need help, you call the IT expert. It's the same thing with HR.
Right.
And in a PEO environment, we take it even that next level, and we handle employee benefits. Now, we really only have about 3 to 4 more minutes, and so I want to go a little bit into that because we're coming on the season where most companies are being told by their insurance broker, or if they're going through I want to say Obamacare, but that's not right.
Okay.
But if they're going through,
Trump care, whatever.
whatever. If they're going through the government benefits, there's
the exchange.
The
government
that's
exchange.
right. They're now having to put a lot of time. This is the fourth quarter. Some of them haven't met their budget, and now they have to talk about benefits.
Right.
And so tell us why Insperity. Couple things. Why does it make sense to use Insperity's PEO model and workforce optimization for their employee benefits,
right?
Or at least get an idea of what we can do, what Insperity does, and the question that I had that impressed me when I asked, not as a business performance advisor, but as a consultant to businesses, was, does Insperity make money on the health benefits like brokers?
It's a very good question. You have to know. When you're partnering with a company, you have to know where your money is going.
Absolutely.
The good news from the benefit side is we don't make money on benefits. We have a very strategic partnership with United Healthcare. They're a Class Act Cadillac plan is our group, and since we consolidate all of our clients' employees, we're the second largest client of United Healthcare, which is very impressive.
250,000 lives that they
over
insure?
250,000 lives they insure through Insperity. We're a very important client to them. Therefore, our clients are very important to them. But one thing that really impresses me is as a business owner, not all of your employees are going to be in the same stage of life. I have 2 kids. I have a 4-year-old and an 8-year-old. We utilize the doctor quite a bit. Every time there's a sneeze or anything, we're there. We want to make sure that we're on a very rich plan. We're willing to pay a little more out of our pocket to do that. And then there's the invincible 25-year-old male, 26, 27-year-old male, that they might be more interested in a higher deductible, and if their company is willing to, maybe put some money back in their HSA, which is a good savings for a young person.
Sure.
So we offer a lot, up to 7 plans that on the first day you go to work as an employee for our customers, you can open your laptop, go in, get an education on all these different plans. Pick up the phone if you have to.
Yep.
You don't have to call your boss. You can call Insperity. We're going to help you choose that right plan that's for you. You're not coming to work and saying, "Oh, we have this one plan and take it or leave it," kind of thing.
Right.
You know, you really. There's so many advantages to having Insperity as an employee, not just the business owner.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
It
Heidi?
does. It absolutely does. And it brings to me this emotion that I remember when my husband started working for a big corporation, and I was so excited about the benefits because I knew that they were going to be class act, they were going to be affordable, they were going to cover our needs.
Right.
And I've mostly worked for small businesses, and so him having those benefits have always been just a blessing to our family. Well, if you think about our Insperity clients, let's talk about that 5-man business that you were talking about.
Right.
They are getting that American Airline, Lockheed plan because they're partnering with Insperity.
Yes. And how are they able to get those plans? We're controlling cost
Absolutely.
all day long.
Absolutely.
I got to say this before time runs out, but as far as insurance goes, our health insurance, we haven't had more than a 4.8% increase year over year for the past 10 years with United Healthcare. I don't know, personally, I don't know of anyone else that has that record that they can share.
Well, and the reason why this is important to business owners is because when we talk about, and we are running out of time, and I'm bummed because I have so much more to say, but when we talk about cost containment, like you said, your employee benefits are not going to go up 40. I'm talking 40+%. I've talked to a handful just recently that are thinking about canceling benefits because they just can't afford it. You are going to stay in compliant with all these regulations that, if you look at regulations 20 years ago, there was, a handful, and now there's, dozens and dozens of regulations that have come up. And how, as a business owner, could you possibly keep up with those regulations? And then the other side is the taxes and the ability to manage that cash flow with the way that we present the opportunities to utilize PEO and Insperity.
Right.
So I want to encourage those. Obviously, we're in love with Insperity, and we believe in them.
Just a little bit.
Yep. We believe in them very strongly. But if you are a business owner, or you know a business owner, or you work for a business owner, encourage them to take a look at some of these other models that are out there and maybe take off their shoulders some of these things that they're taking on a daily basis. Help them become the CEO of their company and not have to feel so overwhelmed with so many things that really that's not what, like you said, I didn't open a business because I wanted to, deal with those day-to-day things. Many people feel the same way. So, Bill, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Heidi. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all that you do.
Yeah, time flew by, so I really appreciate all the information you shared. You're listening to DFW Spotlight on Business, and this is Heidi Hardy. Next week's show, don't miss next week's show. We're featuring John Carroll, and he's the founder and CEO of Trace Coaching Services. John is a leader in DFW's coaching, consulting, and training services, and he is a best-selling author, a speaker, and one of the top 100 leadership experts to follow on social media. So I try to bring a variety of people to the show that will inspire, motivate, and inform the listeners, and so pass on that we will have John Carroll on the show. The thought for the week is there's lots of bad reasons to start a company, but there's only one good legitimate reason, and I think you know what it is. It's to change the world, and that's Phil Libin, CEO of Evernote. And I love that because I think that's what we all do. When we're out there talking to businesses, we're trying to change the world, at least our world. That's right. At least locally, DFW. Yes. Thank you for listening. I wanted to point out one last thing. We have a couple of items that Insperity does freely give out. If this is on the website, if you want to check it out, or you can contact me at heidi.hardy@insperity.com. 30 minutes, we'll talk about your business and see if it's a great fit. My little plug. Thank you for listening. This is Heidi Hardy and with Bill Hamm.
Thank you.
You guys have a great week.